Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, however you're listening, whenever you're listening. Thank you again for joining me for another video. Today is a day. What kind of a day will today be? We'll see. We'll see if it's a loud day, if it's a quiet day. I don't know. There are some things that may be causing the GameStop price to move in certain directions today, and so we'll see. Right now, pre-market, it's good to see we're up $2.11, only 1%. So be it. Now, there are some things that are worth paying attention to. So GameStop has lost another executive. GameStop says Chief Customer Officer Frank Hamlin to step down after transition period ending March 31st. This article, like every article I read, gave very little information as far as Frank Hamlin is concerned, and then just, filled in some words for a word count, I guess. But remember yesterday, if you watched yesterday's video, which I would recommend, I talked about we need to have a catalyst to increase volume. I mean, volume yesterday was insanely low. Let me take a look at this real quick. Volume was under 10 million. 9,573,686. The volume has been trickling down and down and down, and volume is everything. It's volume at this point. And so I see a down day, and I only see 9 million of volume, and I'm going to shrug my shoulders. I'm not concerned about that. So we need some kind of catalyst to push this forward. And so Frank Hamlin stepping down, what kind of a catalyst is that? I have no idea who Frank Hamlin is. I have no idea if his position is significant. I mean, it has some significance, obviously, because he's a chief customer officer. But what does that mean for the long run with GameStop? Now, I don't know. But if you remember, in February, when GameStop's CFO stepped down, this caused a trigger of sorts with the price, and the price skyrocketed almost immediately after. I think it was that same day. And so what are we going to see today with the chief customer officer stepping down? I mean, one thing that communicates to me for sure is that there is a direction that GameStop wants to go, and they are going to go in that direction, and they're going to push in that direction, and I believe in them. I believe in the company, that what they're going to do moving forward is going to be good for the stock, and I like the stock and all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see about today. If you remember when the chief financial officer stepped down, I reported that on this channel. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and the stock price didn't react immediately. It reacted later on in that day. So to see that we're up $2 after hours, or before market, pre-market, we'll see what happens. I would expect something, if something's going to happen, I would expect it to not happen when the bell opens, but at some point later in the day. Now, as far as other things are concerned, obviously today is a big day with earnings coming up. As soon as the market closes, GameStop will report earnings. Now, I read somewhere, I'm not going to give my source, but it was in a place on Reddit, if you catch my drift, where there's a tendency to have heavy confirmation bias towards GameStop. And I read somebody posted that he noticed a lot of good news, a lot of articles reporting with earnings, stuff like this. GameStop reports earnings on Tuesday, why there might be good news. So this person claims that there were a lot of articles from the mainstream media kind of hyping up that GameStop was going to report phenomenal earnings today. And so I had an idea about what I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to talk about how that was bad news for earnings, that they were trying to hype up GameStop so that we would kind of crash down after earnings was reported. But that's not what I'm seeing. This is actually the only article that I saw that said anything positive, remotely positive about earnings. There was plenty of articles talking about how we're going to crash to reality, how the stock's going to plunge after earnings is reported today, and that might happen, it might not, who knows. But this was the only thing, and the contents of the article really aren't even worth mentioning. It doesn't really talk about why there might be good news. Now, here's the thing you need to know about GameStop's earnings today. This is for Q4, and what is Q4 for GameStop? It's November, December, and January. Now, it's nice that we have January in there because we saw all the frenzy and everything happening at the end of January, but I don't think that last week of January is enough to really affect the earnings. Like, I don't think a massive people flooded into their local GameStop and bought thousands of dollars worth of inventory to support the cause the last week of January. So I'm not expecting anything significant with earnings aside from the fact that the PS5 was released in the fourth quarter. So what is that? What kind of an effect is that going to have on earnings? I don't know. But as far as foot traffic is concerned, year over year, it is to be expected that January of 2021 saw less foot traffic than January of 2020. And why is that? Well, obviously COVID. Okay? So I'm just not expecting much for earnings today. And what else? I mean, next quarter, I really think next quarter, so earnings, I'm not saying that we might be done with talking about GameStop 3 months from now. It might have shot up to the moon, the short squeeze might have happened. But as far as earnings is concerned, I really think that we're going to see a noticeable impact around June when Q1 earnings are reported, not as much now. And so this article was actually much more helpful in informing my opinion. And even though the article title is not in favor of GameStop type things, there was a lot of helpful information here. So GameStop's Q4 earnings preview, day of reckoning follows wild Wall Street bets ride. Now I read that article title just right there, and my initial reaction is to kind of have, all right, so you think that everything's going to be awful, but really this is a day of reckoning of sorts. It's like this is a day when we are going to get information. And I just don't think that negative information, unless it's just absolutely shocking to the downside, I just don't think anything is going to have an effect long term on short positions, on short squeezes, on whatever. But there's some helpful information here, so let me read some things. So, excuse me. Video game retailer GameStop is scheduled to report earnings Tuesday afternoon after close, and it could prove to be a day of reckoning, according to Circle Squared Alternative Investments CEO Jeff Sika. The Reddit revolution in early 2021 resulted in GameStop's stock being worth more than $30 billion in the market cap, and it will certainly go down as a major event in history books. For the first time since the fiasco, GameStop management has to come out and address the stock price after hiding in the tall grass, Sika said on Fox Business. In other words, they haven't said a word about GameStop. And good. I'm happy they haven't. And about the latest price action. And they also need to communicate to investors its plan to justify its $13 billion valuation. The company has, quote, such a long way to go to turn itself around, regardless of the level of expertise that sits on its board. I mean, so what's the difference between that and Tesla, really? I mean, not necessarily that Tesla has to turn itself around, but they have to do things to justify their valuation. And GameStop is in a much better position as far as their revenue and their earnings to their valuation, their current valuation, than Tesla is. It's that may seem odd, but it's not even close. Not even close, okay? So what baffles me is there's still people who own the stock at $200 a share. Okay, all right. But, see, here's what I like. This is a balanced article. Here's what other experts disagree with what Sika has to say. For example, GMEDD.com co-proprietor Rod Altman. Let me stop here. GMEDD.com. I didn't even know this website existed. So, I mean, check it out. It looks like there's some good information here, good things to keep keep track with. So I'm going to pay attention to this website, and I'll give you a report on what I find. But I think it might be some really good stuff here. So I am curious, research report and everything like that. GMEDD.com. But back to the article. And I have been saying stuff like this too. So Rod Altman on Benzinga's Power Hour show on March 10th said that at $250, shares of GameStop are trading at a forward price sales ratio of around 3. And this isn't on its face crazy, as it implies a discount to the overall S&P 500. I have been saying this since January. I think the triple digit number really throws off some people, but like you've got to think about it like this. When you think about the total volume of just the number of shares that are available, the float, whatever you want to call it, 75 million shares, it just isn't that much. What if GameStop was like, all right, we have 10 shares, or no, let me just say 1,000 shares, and you saw a GameStop stock price of, I don't know, like $10,000 a share, you'd probably think like that's way overpriced. But like it matters. What matters really is the market cap. The share price doesn't matter, and a market cap of $13.5 billion right now isn't that crazy. It's just not. And so, that's what this person is talking about. People, the analysts, it drives me crazy because I see the same thing over and over again. People love to talk about the share price, but not the market cap. The market cap is what matters. And $13.5 billion is just fine. I am comfortable with $13.5 billion for market cap. So anyway, good and bad in this article. The thing that I'm saying here is that all of this FUD that we're getting from so-called positive articles, it's not true. It's not a thing. So again, no matter what the articles are saying, just don't pay attention to the articles. I would say a good balance, I can't believe I'm saying this, is Wall Street Bets. If you're thinking about it on a spectrum, it's like MSM on one side, RGME on the other side. Wall Street Bets is more on the RGME side, but at least there are people on Wall Street Bets who are just tired of this GameStop stuff. So you're getting different opinions. They think it's crazy, whatever. Anyway, so some things to look forward to. I just don't expect much with earnings. I don't expect a ton. Now, that doesn't mean that there's going to be crazy price action after hours. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that after hours activity and going into tomorrow that this is going to have much of a long-term effect no matter where the stock price goes, no matter what direction it goes. I don't think it's going to have a long-term effect on where we are going with the short squeeze, the FTD squeeze, the gamma squeezes, all that stuff. So if you want to check out GameStop's earnings report, you can get on the live stream. So on March 9th, GameStop announced that the company will report both fourth quarter and fiscal 2020 earnings results after the market closes on March 23rd, which is today. Following the earnings release, GameStop will host an investor conference call at 5 p.m. Eastern to review the company's financial results. To enter and listen to the earnings report webcast, you need to fill out this form, which is this site right here, viavid.webcast.com. Start here, GameStop. Oh, man. I'm not going to get on the earnings call. I am hoping to take my kids on a little field trip today, but one of my kids is a little under the weather. I'm hoping he feels better by the end of the day because I paid for a hotel. I would at least like to stay in the hotel tonight, and maybe he'll be feeling better tomorrow, or maybe we'll just spend our whole time in the hotel. So I don't know. I don't know what's coming, but I will not be on this call. If you want to get on the call, viavid.webcast.com, I guess search for GameStop. And be a nerd. Go for it. But that is all I have for today. I hope you have a great day. Let's ride this rocket to the moon. Go GameStop. Peace.